Hi, Algebra 1 students. This is a video that covers the first part of your final exam review. So just the Chapter 1 review. All right, so this is all about solving equations. So when we're solving equations, the first thing you want to check for in all problems or equations is parentheses. So you want to look for your parentheses first. So when I look at this equation, I do not have parentheses. I recommend you draw the line where your equal sign is, makes it easier to keep track of everything. So no parentheses. Next thing you want to check is find your variables. If you only have one variable, so I got one finger pointing to my variable, then you can circle it and begin what I'm going to say your solving process. That just means begin the process of getting x all by itself on one side of the equal sign. And remember, we want a number over here when we're done. So the 2 is added to the x. So I want to add the opposite of 2, which is -2, to both sides. 2 minus 2 is 0. So there we go. X is already by itself. Negative plus a negative is a bigger negative. So x is -17. That one we call a one-step because it only took us one step to get x alone. This one, I'm going to ask you to rewrite that fraction like that, how we're used to seeing it. Draw your line. Check for your parentheses. No parentheses. Okay, how many variables do we have? One variable. Circle it. It has a 1/2 multiplied by it. We need to divide both sides by 1/2 to undo multiplication. But remember, instead of dividing fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. I'm just going to R-E-C-P-R. I always spell reciprocal wrong. Hopefully that's right. Multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/2 or 1/2 is 2/1. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2/1. So over here, let's put a 1 under there. I have 2 times 15, which is 30 for my numerator. 1 times 1 is 1 for my denominator. Over here, I have an x. My numerators are 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 1, 2. 30 divided by 1 is 30. 2 divided by 2, so I have 1x. That's my goal, 1x. Remember, you can write it without that 1 in front of the x. Both of those are correct. Okay, check for parentheses. No parentheses. One variable. So I have a lot going on over here with my variable, but the part I like the least is this big old fraction, this 3 on the bottom. So for this, my first step is going to be to undo the divide by 3 by multiplying both sides by 3. And remember, multiplying by 3 is the same as 3/1. So on the right side, I get 5 times 3, which is 15. On the left side, notice I have 3 in the denominator, 3 in the numerator, or 3 divided by 3, which is 1. So I have 1 times 4x plus 5. Well, that's just 4x plus 5. Okay, still no parentheses, one variable. Circle your variable. This is a two-step. I need to undo the multiply by 4 and undo the plus 5. Always undo addition and subtraction first. So the opposite of positive 5 is -5. So I'm going to -5 from both sides. You know what? Actually, I'm looking back here. Was this? That original equation had a minus. Let me back up here. Sorry about that. So small it was hard to see, but I think your original equation was 4x minus 5. So then actually I'm going to add 5 to both sides. 5 positive and 5 negative makes a 0. So 4x on the left side, 15 plus 5 is 20 on the right side. And then divide to undo 4 multiplied by x. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1x equals 20 divided by 4 is 5. All right, now finally we have one with parentheses. So if you have parentheses, you need to take care of parentheses first. In this case, do the distributive property. So 4 outside parentheses means 4 gets multiplied by the m and the negative 8. 4 times m is 4m. 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. Equals, copy the rest. Don't be lazy, copy it, don't skip steps. Now, get your fingers out and find your variables. Notice I have 2 of them. Also notice they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. Remember, my goal when I'm done is to have a single variable on one side and a number on the other. So if I have variables on both sides, I want to gather them all on one side of the equal sign or the other. So what I say is check these two. And I say, which one is the bigger party? This party has 4 m's. This party has 4 m's. Ooh, the party's the same size. If the party's the same size, I'm going to say, this is kind of a little warning that you're going to get a unique or different looking answer for this problem. So let's say I'm going to gather my variables over here. So I'm going to minus these 4 m's from this side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So over here I have negative 32, and then positive 4m and negative 4m makes a 0. So that's what I wanted. I wanted them gone from over there. Now look what happens over here. Positive 4m and negative 4m is also 0. Negative 32 is left on the left side also. So this is why when the party's the same size, you're going to get one of these unusual answers. So the next question you ask yourself is that true? Does negative 32 equal negative 32? Well, yes, of course it does. If this is a true statement, then you write that you have infinite solutions. That means any x value that you choose, if you substitute it into this equation, it will make the equation true or correct. Okay, these, if you remember, were absolute values. Absolute value, the definition of absolute value is the distance a number is from 0 on the number line. And when we did these, we said, well, there's always 2 solutions, one positive and one negative, because every number, if you think about the number line, positive 6 is a distance of 6 from the 0. And negative 6 is also a distance of 6 from 0. So that's why we said, well, we got to check both situations. We have to check where 6 is positive and where 6 is negative. So we're just changing what's on the right side of the equal sign, one positive, one negative. The left side we're going to keep the same, except we're going to drop those absolute values. When I split into the 2 solutions, I'm solving or beginning to solve my absolute value. So the absolute value symbols are gone. Now you just solve these 2 equations. You're going to get 2 different answers. No parentheses, 1 variable. So start by undoing addition and subtraction by minusing 6 from both sides. So that gets me 0. Negative 2n equals 6 minus 6 is 0. That's fine. You haven't made a mistake. Everything's correct. 0 is a number on the number line, so just keep going. Divide both sides by negative 2 to undo multiplication. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, so those 1 out. I have 1n equals 0 divided by anything is 0. Put it in your calculator if you're not sure. 0 divided by negative 2 is 0. So that's one of my solutions. This one will be different, so you have to solve both of these equations. You're going to start the same by minusing 6 from both sides. Positive 6 and negative 6 is 0. So negative 2n equals, over here we have negative plus a negative. That's going to be a bigger negative. Divide by negative 2 again. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. But this time I'm going to get n equals negative divided by a negative is a positive. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Nice. Okay, one more that I'm going to go through here. Draw your line. This one's got everything happening in it. Start with your parentheses. Remember, always look for those parentheses first. So we're going to do distributive property here. 2 times 5m is 10m. 2 times 8 is 16. Minus 2m, copy it, equals 4m plus 36, copy it. Now, if I take my fingers and I try to find all these variables, I actually need 3 fingers. I have 3 variables. What I want you to do is pay attention to one side of the equal sign at a time. Over here, I have 2 variables. Those are like terms. So I'm going to combine those like terms first. 10m minus 2m is 8m, plus 16 is still there, equals 4m plus 3. Okay, get your fingers out again. I still have 2 variables. Notice this time they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. So I want to get them all together. 8m is the bigger party, so I want to subtract 4m from both sides. So 4m minus m is 0. I'm left with 3 over here. These are like terms. You can combine those. 8m minus 4m is 4m plus 16. Get your fingers out. Finally, only one variable. This is a 2-step, so now you can just keep solving your 2-step. Undo addition and subtraction first. Minus 16 from both sides. 4m equals negative 13. Oh, I feel like something is wrong here because I should be getting a whole number. Let's see if we can find, oh, I forgot the 6 here. This is a 36. There we go. Add that 6 in. Now this makes more sense. 36 minus 16 is 20. Undo, multiply by 4 by dividing both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I have 1m equals 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, much better. All right, that is your Chapter 1 review. Now you can continue on and do the practice on your own.